right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Friday, heading into the weekend. Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all of tonight's action. We got some stuff for the weekend as well. Doug, happy Friday, and we got back on the Daily Double train last night, which is always good to do.
Sweet it is, plus 244.
Back rolling. Islanders taking care of business. 2-1 win at the Garden against the Rangers. And Porter, he had 3 at the half, and then boom, first shot of the second half. Porter puts it down. One of our I guess it got a little sweaty. When it got to 2-1, Islanders had a 2-0 lead. It was 2-1. They had to hold on. But for the most part, Doug, that was a pretty not the most sweat-free daily double that we had cooking for us with Porter getting it done so early.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing is you could tell early with.
Absolutely. So we let's kick things off here today, Doug. Of course, Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network, and we do want to give you, of course, Aussie Open. We're down here to the finals, the last ones that we've got. Enter the bonus code BWAO26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on an Australian Open wager. That code again, BWAO26. That's the letter O. Offer expires on January 31st. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, when you log into Bet Rivers, you'll receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on the day's matches. How about that? In fact, Doug, I used mine this morning because I came home, dropped the kids off at school's game, and I saw that Djokovic was in the mix going back and forth with Sinner this morning, and I jumped in and I used that Australian Open profit boost on Bet Rivers. So I got home to the window with that too, Doug.
It's nice. That's the time difference working in your favor. So always a pleasure when that, you get those little boosts and you don't have to just bet random stuff. You get to do high profile sporting events, which you clearly did. So props to you on that front.
All right, let's get going here with college basketball to kick things off on a Friday. And of course, we have, listen, there's a ton of big games this weekend, but the biggest is actually on Friday night. Let's roll, baby. Michigan and Michigan State. Of course, Sparty at home, 1.5-point dogs to the Wolverines, 147.5 is the total. This is just after 8 o'clock East on Fox. Number 3, Michigan. Number 7, Michigan State. I love this little Friday night big game to kick off the weekend.
That's a monster game. I don't know what to make of it because I know a lot of squares on the home dog here. How do you not see this if you're a recreational bettor, given Michigan has failed to cover 7 straight? And they're just overvalued, whether it's a big number or a tight number. But I will say, when they're laying double digits and you're not covering, very different than this situation of 1.5. So I know the market and the great equalizers, the point spread, blah, blah, blah. But it is a different animal. So that's something to keep in mind. With that being said, I think Sparty's the better team. I've not been impressed with Michigan. I don't think they're as elite as everyone wants to make it out to be. A couple things. I think they're too sloppy with the ball, so high turnovers. And I don't think they're going to be able to get out and run with Sparty, which is that I think that's going to be the game plan for Izzo at home because you just want to get easier buckets than in the half court set. So I really like Michigan State here. I am proceeding with caution, though, just because everyone's on them. I haven't talked to one person who's on Michigan, but you can't expect a team to just all of a sudden play great if that's their ceiling. If they do happen to play great, that's fine, but I've seen no signs of it. And also, they've been very shaky on the road, 2-5 ATS. So not in a rush to bet the Wolverines on the road here.
I'm not in a rush either, but I'm kind of cautious like you. I don't think I've heard one person pick Michigan today, just kind of talking up and looking into things on this game. And that always does give you a little bit of pause. Like, all right, what's going on here? What about the total, 147.5 seems a little
under.
light. Yeah,
I feel under.
You feel the under? I was going to say maybe is it a little light, but if you're feeling the under, I could see that too on that side. It's just these two
I think
teams obviously.
Sparty's going to push the pace. So I
Okay.
see the logic there. I just don't think Michigan's going to want to get running with them, and I think they're going to be up for this game. So, we see Max in the chat says happy 70th birthday, Tom Izzo.
Ooh, we've got the birthday going there as well. How about that? Happy 70th for Tom. He got to win on his birthday, right, Doug? I mean, the guy's got to be a little birthday cake afterwards, little celebration.
Maybe they can do
7-0
bottle service, sparklers, and everything. Bring it out.
right there. Roll it right on out the floor after they're done. Michigan and Michigan State tonight. Heavy hitter game for us to kick off the weekend. Elsewhere on a Friday night in college hoops, Dayton and St. Louis. So here come the Billikens now. As we know, they've been ranked for the last couple of weeks. They've been playing really good basketball. 9.5, though, is what they're laying here at home tonight against a pretty decent Dayton team. This is just after 8 o'clock East on CBS Sportsnet. 20-1 the Billikens are this year. 153.5 is the total.
If I had to play this game, I would go to the under. I think Dayton's going to be able to kind of muck it up. And St. Louis, I think it was a look ahead spot in the last game, but I still think St. Louis not hitting a wall, but they're getting everyone's best shot. It's taking its toll. 9.5 is a big number. I think if I got to 11, I definitely would bet it. So that's kind of where I see this.
I was kind of hoping I would get double digits at some point, Doug. That was kind of what I'm waiting for. I want to play Dayton. I think that Dayton's good enough where they shouldn't get run, although the game is at St. Louis, so that causes me a little bit of pause. But if I can get this thing up over that and gets a little double digits, I think that I'm going to get involved with the Flyers tonight on the road against St. Louis. Elsewhere, we both had this one circled because, and why not? We love late night Mountain West games on Betting Weekly Live. It really has become a staple for us. Boise visiting the Antelopes of Grand Canyon this evening. Now, this has kind of been bouncing a little around back and forth. I've seen Grand Canyon 1.5, seen it, and now right now at Bet Rivers, a pick 'em for Grand Canyon. 140.5 is the total.
This is like my bet last week with Penn State catching all those points against Whiskey. I'm going to bet it, but I expect to lose it. And that is Grand Canyon. I think we're buying the Lopes at the peak of the market here. And I think Boise, in a revenge spot, going to come to town and take care of business. But it's going to be a great atmosphere in the gym, and I will have to pay to see it, so to speak. I'm going to make Boise State beat me, but I do think that's going to. I just think the spread is too fishy. That's why I expect to lose.
Yeah, I mean, they've been Grand Canyon's been excellent here, especially at home in these games. They did go to Boise and thump them by 18 earlier this month, back on January 7th, I should say. So you do have that little bit of revenge. I'm going to go and take the walk on the plank with you, Doug, with Grand Canyon tonight. And hopefully we stay afloat with them. Like you said, and this happened to us last week. We both with Penn State are like, we fully expect to lose it. And we're both going to walk down with Grand Canyon this evening and see if we can get it done. We got your Brownies in action tonight here. Brown and Harvard. Harvard minus 1.5. Visiting Rhode Island. 134.5 is the total.
At the pits here, look, Harvard has a very slow, methodical pace. Brown has the worst offense in the Ivies. We're talking in the 320s nationally. I don't think Brown's going to muster any points here. I like their team total under. Now, there's a chance Harvard could score a little bit. That's why I'm going with the team total for the Bears under. It's just going to be a day of reckoning a little bit for Brown. Their offense is putrid at times. And my concern is that Harvard's got Yale on deck, but I don't think Harvard's good enough right now to look past anyone. I kind of wanted to lay the points. It's a short number, but because Yale's on deck, you never know. I mean, the back-to-back thing. It's Harvard minus 1.5 or pass, but I really think the right angle here is just the pace is 66.5 the under. Now, there's a chance. So Harvard gets sped up by like the high-scoring teams like Cornell, but other than that, it's going under. Brown should not be able to score over this.
Under 66.5 for Brown tonight at home against Harvard. Let's stay in the Ivies. Dartmouth visiting Yale tonight. We got a big number here, just over 2 tutties, 15.5 for Yale at home, 154.5 the total.
I mentioned this a week and a half ago. I thought the Bulldogs were going to make a nice run in the conference. They have their one loss. I don't think they're going to lose again. And I think they're going to crush teams. They won at Penn a couple weeks ago by 15 and laying the 6.5. They're just so big. This might be their best team in the recent sort of era. They could have Sweet 16 potential here. Now they got Harvard, their rival, on deck. But Dartmouth's pretty good. Yale shouldn't look past them. I do lean to the big green in the first half plus 8.5. I just think Yale can kind of play with their food a little bit, and it's just not a big. I would want double digits for me to actually bet it, but I do think the plus 8.5 probably has some value here.
Well, plus 8.5 in the first half with Dartmouth. Horizon League. Of course, we've talked about Doug Gottlieb and Green Bay quite a bit over the last few weeks as we've gotten into league play in the Horizon. Tonight they are at home for the Vikings of Cleveland State. Minus 7.5 for Green Bay, 150.5 the total.
Yeah, really interesting. Almost like a mid-season break. Both teams coming off a nice long layoff. It's about a week here for the Phoenix and like 9 days for Cleveland State. Interesting spread here. Green Bay beat them by 15 on the road earlier this season, but Cleveland State's playing so much better. And I think it's a good spot. So we backed Green Bay, at least I did in the last game, where they were off back-to-back losses, went to Bobby Moe and won outright as a dog. I think Cleveland State's the right side. I think they're kind of trending in the right direction, even though they're the bottom of the conference. I do like this team here, first half and game. I think Green Bay's a team that's going to be much better in the underdog role because they can shoot. But Cleveland State's the best shooter in the conference in terms of threes. And Green Bay's got one of the worst defenses. They defend the three okay. But I think this is going to be an open gym. So I want to lean on the variance of this. And that's why I want to split up the wager into first half and game. I think this is going to be a really tight game. I think Cleveland State can jump on them. Again, it's all about the three. I think Green Bay's intensity on defense will be on the lower side, having beaten them by double digits, so a little flat, if you will. And I like Cleveland State here. I think they're trending in the right direction. They just beat the first place team, so I think they're getting their act together.
Starting to get the ball rolling as we head into February here in the Horizon for Cleveland State on the road tonight at Green Bay. This one I had on the card as well, and we're both on opposite sides here. Nevada and UNLV back to the late night Mountain West. I know UNLV not very good this year, Doug. I understand that, but I love taking points in these rivalry games, which we have tonight with UNLV in Reno against the Wolfpack. 8.5, a little bit too much, I think, here. I know Nevada better. I'm going to take the points in a rivalry game.
I don't blame you. The old battle for the Fremont cannon, at least that's what the rivalry is in football. They paint the cannon the color of the winning school. Josh Pastner did an interview, I think earlier the week, Monday, and he basically was asked about the home crowd and like the environment. Because remember, this UNLV program won the national championship in the early 90s. And he conceded that he overestimated how kind of easy, or he underestimated the difficulty of kind of bringing fans out in this town because it's a pro town now. You got the Golden Knights, got the Raiders, even the Aces get some crowds. And he thought it would be easier than thought. And because opening night, they were doing the dedication of the court at the Tark and everything, and no one showed. And he thought it's one thing not to come out and root for his team, but it's nothing the yesteryear. But I think what people need to realize is that this town is so transient. It's very different than any other city in America. Almost, 2/3 of the people didn't grow up here, so they don't really care about allegiance. That's why I like doing high school football was weird in the city because most people didn't go to high school football here, or didn't go to high school. So in this town, so I just think like that's why the crowd was empty. And then the article aired or printed the day that UNLV had no crowd and that they got killed by New Mexico. So I just don't know what the vibe is with this Rebels program right now. Steve Alford's a good coach. I think Nevada was sort of looking past the Grand Canyon. It wasn't their last game. So I think it's a great spot to back the Wolfpack, and they're going to want to be all business here. This UNLV team, their best player at the beginning of the season got hurt, okay? And it's just been uphill since. And I don't know what happened at Utah State where they won by double digits. It was a weird game. They were down by double digits in the second half, so it wasn't one of those games where they just jumped on them early and held on. For me, it's Nevada or pass.
Nevada or pass. I will go UNLV tonight. I'm going to back Passner on the road in Reno, late night, just after 10 o'clock East in the Mountain West. Another one that caught my eye, 6 o'clock East tip, Akron and Kent State. Little Mac. Now, you know how I've been with Miami of Ohio lately, so I've been seeing a couple of these teams. Kent State took them to overtime. Kent State, Akron have kind of separated here, Doug. They're the second tier after the undefeated Miami of Ohio team in this conference. Akron's only losses to Miami of Ohio in conference, and I told you we know about Kent State. This is a lot for me here. 10.5 with the second and third best teams. Kent State's been playing really good ball. I'm going to take them here on the road with the 10.5 in Akron.
Huh. It feels high.
It feels
like
high.
it, and it's a little bit of a rivalry, right? Aren't all these teams rivals?
Yeah, all the ones in Ohio, in Ohio there.
So there's no way I'd lay the lumber there.
Like, I feel like I if it was like 5-6, like I feel like that would be more, because Akron is better than them. I'm not going to deny that. But Kent State is no slouch so far in conference play. And they took Miami of Ohio to the end and really could have got them in that game that went to OT. So I'm going to lean on them. They've played well. I'm going to take the points with them tonight in Akron to start the MAC night. And we had Grand Canyon. We had UNLV we brought up. So we've got pretty much everything. Anything Providence, Villanova tonight? There is a Big East game tonight on the schedule with Nova, of course, laying the points at home.
Yeah, I like Villanova. They've been much better than I thought. I've really struggled in the Big East this year. So gonna hold off on this one.
Hold off tonight in the Big East with those two. All right, let's do some of Saturday. And yes, a lot in the chat box here. Hi, guys. I saw one's ready for prop week here. Doug, what's the Ken Palm on Kent State from David? What is the Ken Palm on Kent State? I know Doug will have that fairly quicker than I will.
Comforting 11.
11. All right. Well, Ken Palm for them. Give me Kent State tonight. Let's go. All right, let's do some of Saturday's big ranked games that we have for the weekend. I love this one. BYU at Kansas on Saturday. 4:30 East here. Fog Allen -4.5 for the Jayhawks. 157.5 is the total. BYU almost came back and got it for me earlier this week against Arizona. Can they get it done for me here on Saturday in Kansas, Doug?
I'll go back and forth here. Kansas better coached, and obviously the environment of the Fog is a world in and of itself. Also, BYU is one of those teams you kind of want to back against the mediocre teams, and this could be a step up in class. With that being said, I love the spot. I love that they faced Arizona earlier this week. I think they kind of learned how to play these types of games, and that's why they had a strong second half. I think they're going to be ready for this game. I think if I can get 4.5, I have to take it with the Cougs.
4.5 with the Cougs in Kansas late afternoon on Saturday. Number 2, UConn visiting Creighton on Saturday night, just after 8, -6.5 for the Huskies, 141.5 the total.
So UConn just has trouble with certain opponents, right? And that's Providence. And I don't want to overreact to that performance in their last game. And if you look at their schedule, the one thing I think I'm going to lay it, but Danny Hurley post game he brought up a good point. I didn't really realize it. He just talked about all these games in a short window of time. And I'm making sure he's not making it up, but I think he's right. And so he looks like he had, 6 conference games in a, 13 or 15 day stretch or something like that. So it's a lot. And now you got to go at Creighton. Obviously, Creighton was looking ahead to when they got waxed by Marquette, but that's still, they didn't flip the switch and turn things around. So I'd have to roll with the Huskies if I played this game. I just think this UConn team, they're number 2 ranked team in the country. There's value, I think, in the futures market. The problem is that the Big East isn't that good. And even though it's physical, blah, 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 I'm just not sure how good they are for the futures market. But I just think Creighton's a little shaky.
they've been a little shaky so far this year, Creighton. This has not been the Creighton team from the last couple of years, that's for sure.
Right.
Duke, just after noon tip in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Duke laying the lumber, 11.5 on the road, 146.5 the total.
I don't know what to think about this Duke team. I mean, they just beat up on teams sometimes, and then they play with their food. I like them. I think they're. I mean, it's crazy. They're the fourth ranked team in the country, and they're flying under the radar a little bit. Virginia Tech can be a tricky spot to play, especially when it's like in the morning or our morning, their night, or my morning. I don't know. This feels like it's a little too many points, but Duke has that spurt ability where they can just kind of flip the switch and dust you. So maybe the Hokies first half.
Hokies first half, maybe to hang around with Duke. They are a little under the radar this year, right? They're really not getting. And look, obviously we've got some Arizona being undefeated, and Michigan's obviously gotten a lot of gas for what they've done. Duke is kind of just hanging around. Nobody's
Player of
paying
the year. I mean, and they're well coached.
Yeah. Stay in the ACC. SMU at Louisville on Saturday. This game also afternoon, just after 2:00 East. Cardinal minus 8.5 at home, 162.5. Seems a little heavy here, Doug. 8.5 for Louisville.
It does. One would imagine you're going to get good effort from the Cardinals after getting absolutely destroyed by Duke. I just think this SMU team's pretty good, and I think it's too many points. I know the Ville is getting healthier, and obviously the profile of this team very different than the one, I don't know, a month ago. But I still think it's a little heavy. To your point, 8.5's a lot.
8.5 definitely does seem like a lot. Let's go next, Doug. Little Zag. Here we go. The WCC yearly tradition, unlike any other. Everyone waits for St. Mary's and Gonzaga to play twice in the regular season. Mary's up to the Zags, 10.5, just after 10:30 East on Saturday night, 149.5 the total.
So long gone are the days where St. Mary's like the favorite, right? And expected to win the tournament or the conference tournament, everything. But I still think there's a familiarity with the Zags team. And I just think that's a high total for a team that's really familiar. And I think things are going to be intense. And it's going to be a battle. Like we talked about it last night with Irvine and Hawaii. Second half and overtime flew over. But the first half, there's just I mean, if Hawaii wasn't bombing every three, they would have gone way under. So I just think these are one of these games where there's going to be comfort zone. This reminds me of the SEC, right? Maybe not this year, but when there was clear separation between Georgia, Bama, and like the middle of the pack, and odds makers had to make prop bets and prop markets and for the SEC title game. And it's like, well, how do you make a prop on a Georgia receiver when he's played only 3/4 of some of these blowouts? And you really only have like 3 games to go off of in terms of doing the projection for the SEC title game when they're at. So for Gonzaga and St. Mary's, a lot of these stats, especially the Zags, they're calculating like these blowout games, right? Like these 20-point games, these 30-point games. Like, do we really know how they're going to respond in this game here? So I just think it's a really tough market for an odds maker, and even better, I just think the familiarity with these coaches and everything is going to lend itself. Oh, well, there you go. I mean, I'm literally speaking this into existence.
Wow.
This is my whole point, and I didn't even know this. Like that's the thing. It's just really hard for the market to project a line when you have an opponent that is so different than all the other opponents you faced.
Right.
Now, obviously, the Zags had some preseason and all that, right? But for the most part, the sample size isn't the same, right, as when they're going to play these other teams where they're favored by 18.5 to 23.5 and everything. So I just think the intensity at the kennel on a Saturday night, everything, I do like under.
There you go. Now, I got 2 good ones on Sunday, but before I leave Saturday, I do want to say, and I just talked about this with UNLV and Nevada, how much I love taking big points in rivalry games, Utah, BYU last week, etc. And I took the huge points with Arizona State when they played earlier this month in Tucson against Arizona. But I don't know, Doug, if I can bring myself to take in the huge points with Arizona State at home tomorrow. It's heavy. I think it's about 14.5, 15.5. But I've really been down on Arizona State since Hurley did that whole. We got no fans. We got nothing. I don't know if I could do it in that one.
I actually was impressed with ASU to go to UCF, get the win with
That's
Arizona on deck.
true.
So, tip of the cap there. That's back-to-back wins, maybe starting to figure some stuff out, but I want no
16
part of
and a
them.
half.
It's a
Whew.
big number at home too. Is Arizona like care? I mean, they're off a big win against BYU. I know it's a rivalry, but this could be like the Lakers-Clippers rivalry. It's one way, right? Um,
And it's not even,
it means more to ASU than it does Arizona.
I was looking to see if maybe Arizona had who they had next, but they're playing Oklahoma State next. And then they get into the Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU again. They start to get wow, look at that stretch, Doug. After these next two games, they play at Kansas, home Texas Tech, home BYU, at Houston, at Baylor, home Kansas. That's their whole month of February. Wow. I don't know if Arizona's going to stay undefeated after all that they got to go through. That's
I mean,
a pretty
that's the thing.
tough
Like
stretch.
you could argue, and I would argue that they don't want to be undefeated.
Oh, I make that argument every year.
Yeah,
If someone is tagging around 0 in the middle of February, you want to drop that game. You do not. There's no reason to have all those added questions throughout March of, well, you could be the first team to go undefeated since blah, blah, blah. You don't want any of those talk. You don't want that to be the focus. You don't want it. Sunday, really fast. Two good ones on Sunday. Illinois, Nebraska. This is Sunday afternoon, 4:00. Nebraska minus 2.5, 150.5 is the total. Nebraska looking to bounce back after their first loss of the season.
Yeah, I think there's only one way you can play this game, and that's the dog here. A little revenge for the Illini. Also, Nebraska shorthanded, right? We think they might be down 2 of their top 7 guys. And these stumbles tend to come in twos. So they do fade against Michigan in the second half. Now, with that being said, they were shorthanded and they've got 2 extra days of rest here compared to the Illini, who we expected them not to, show up or whatever. A solid win. They won't let it have, took care of business, but 9-point win at home against Washington. And Illinois had the big game last week, getting a 47 from a freshman. I just have to bet Illinois in the under here. I think that's the only way to play. But Nebraska's offense shoots the lights out. And again, the extra rest is very favorable. So I think a lot of people have lost money this year betting against the Huskers. I have not. But I think this is the time where you do pull the trigger.
And one more, Alabama, Florida, Sunday afternoon. This is in Gainesville. 7.5. Alabama getting 7.5 here on the road. Does that say 170.5, Doug? 170.5.
Isn't it usually 180 something when it comes to Bama?
I guess that's true.
I think it's too high. I mean, this is a game Alabama could win, right? It's not crazy, right?
Agree.
So I just think it's too high. And yes, Florida seems to be putting it together. Defending champs seem to be hitting their groove, but they did lose to Auburn. They smoked South Carolina, but that's not saying much. I think they get the win, but it's too high, man. It's at some point the tax is too much, right? The market's adjusted. The other night, Michigan was still 10.5, got bet to 12. That was stupid. I think this number's way too high.
I agree. That is a go for Alabama for me on Sunday afternoon. And our first Sunday without NFL in a long time, too. So you got to take that. You got a couple of other things we can do. Hit on Derby, thanks to Jack Wright for the call and lean on the early show. The early show has been on fire. They've been taking care of business. ASU first half there from Dafars. ASU first half. Love the show. Let's go, Porter Jr. Ridiculous last night. Thank you. He sure was. Do you think the Nuggets should have kept him? Porter Jr. Well,
yeah, it ended up being a bad trade.
Bad trade. Cam Johnson has he even played? Has he played much, Doug? Cam Johnson?
He's been banged up. Remember, they were missing all those starters. Now Aaron Gordon's going to be out much longer.
But that was his story with the Nets and Suns too. Cam Johnson. He never played.
Porter's still terrible defensive. He's playing defense with his hand. It's like so bad to watch.
All right, let's go. Speaking of the NBA, that is where we are going to head now because we do have 9 games tonight to go through in the NBA. Why don't we start? We've got ESPN doubleheader this evening on a Friday night with the Raptors and the Magic, the first game, just after 7:30 East on ESPN. Magic minus 219.5 the total.
No. So Toronto was on a nice roll. Then they play the Knicks, but they can't beat the Knicks. So I kind of erased that from the schedule. So you're catching them off a loss, but I don't think less of Toronto because they face the Knicks, who they can't seem to beat. This Orlando team's a farce. They had lost 4 straight. They go to Miami and win convincingly in a high-scoring game, but the Heat had just won a couple. I just think it was a really good spot to back the Magic. Now they're back home. I might hate watch this game, but I think it's Toronto and under if I had to play it, but I don't know. I guess I'm being influenced by the Magic dropping 140 in their last game. I just don't. I think their offense is putrid. It really does.
Nothing wrong with a little hate watch once in a while, Doug. Sometimes you got to hate watch, and you can do that with the
Yeah,
Raptors and the
it's
Magic
healthy.
here this evening in Orlando. The second game on ESPN just after 10 o'clock East, as the Pistons, of course, have been out on this West Coast trip, and they will find themselves tonight in Golden State. Of course, they lost in Phoenix last night at Golden State against the Warriors tonight. Warriors -3, 224.5.
Well, I like Detroit here. Now it's a long road trip, and they're running out of gas, but I they have so much more talent, and they have to be fuming over last night's loss. Do wonder if it's going to come in pairs, and they just don't have enough here. But I think they should be like -1 or something like that. I just think the number's like wrong. I'd have to side with Detroit. Cade Cunningham's was like questionable, but it looks like he's probable now. That second unit couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. They were missing so many shots. This thing was going to fly over. I talked about the over yesterday's show. It had like 70 in the first quarter. The live total at halftime was 232, and it couldn't get over 213. So we had like 75 points in the second half, something insane. I think the Pistons second unit will be fine.
There you go. Pistons and Warriors late night for the ESPN doubleheader. All right, let's do some of the other ones here on Friday night. Let's go to the Lakers next, as they're coming off getting thumped in Cleveland the other night. Now they're in DC against the Wizards. That's always a good way to turn your frown upside down. -9.5 for the Lakers here, 228 flat the total.
So I live bet the Wizards yesterday against the Bucks. This
Ooh.
Washington team is not good. Okay. The Bucks missed a lot of shots. And yes, Giannis is out, but these guys now that's why they came all the way back and cut it to 2 or even tied the game when they were down 18. This Wizards team is sloppy. They don't understand game situations. Some of the guys do some nice things. Sark and they just kind of treat these games like preseason. Like cap they don't act they're not actively understanding the game situation, everything. I think the Lakers probably smoke them.
Smoke them. There's be a good
I mean,
night to get back on track. They
the
stink.
Wizards are kind of feeling themselves a little bit. They have back-to-back wins. Trey Johnson's out. Middleton's not going to play after playing some key minutes last night. I think the Lakers absolutely have to go for the jugular.
Hammer spot for the Lakers
I think
tonight
so.
in DC. And it's not even that much. I mean, we see some of these ones against these bad teams and, the 13, 14, 15, laying stuff like that. 9.5, not so bad to go ahead and go
Yeah, well, I mean,
after
they
it.
got the Knicks on Sunday. That's a little bit of a look ahead for Lakers, but they're off a
Big,
loss. They can't afford
the
they
first big NBC Sunday night game, right? Knicks Lakers,
right.
that's the first time that they're doing the Sunday night game on NBC. So you do have that to look forward to. Speaking of the Knicks, they are home tonight as well. They have Portland in town. Knicks -7.5, 224.5 is the total.
This is a tough sort of angle for me. I like this Portland team. I typically like taking their points. I just like them as a home dog more often. This is a big ass. The Knicks, although Towns, I think the bet here is Towns under his points prop. He's gone under 4 straight. He's, I don't know, fragile, for lack of a better
Well,
word.
I know he's a little fragile mentally. There's been a lot of chatter here, Doug, over the last 36 hours since this Giannis news has come out.
Right.
That Cat is behind the scenes. He's upset that his name is thrown around in the rumors. So there's definitely a little something maybe going on behind the scenes with Cat.
The number's only 18.5. So, I mean, he had 8 in the last game, but 17 the game before. 18.5 is pretty low, if we want to really be honest. He had 20 when he last played in Portland. So I think it's going to be right around the number. I would just say be careful betting the over. I think that's a better way to phrase it. Um, but yeah, I think that's sort of factoring into my handicap. But there could be a get right spot here for sure.
The Kings, of course, have been on a very long East Coast trip. They just missed in Philly last night against the Sixers, lost by 2. Now they're in Boston tonight, second night of a back-to-back. Celtics minus 11, 217.5 the total.
They go back and forth. I think it's a smash job by the Celtics. I think the Kings stink. And the back to back, and I think the Celtics got to get right and all that stuff. I think that's the key here. That's why I would want to play Boston here. I don't respect the Celtics team. Sorry, the Kings team. Boston's having their warts are showing a little bit, but Jaylen Brown might be out. I'm seeing that's a concern. Ooh, he is officially out. Okay. So what has happened in these games, all 3 games I think he's missed, is the team total of the opponent has gone under. And then Derek White has gone off, and so has Pritchard, but it's not necessarily 3. So you got to be careful, like assists and all that. So Derek White assist prop, Pritchard assist prop are usually really good. Things along those lines. So Derek White's 6+ assists is I think what you want to do from that standpoint. It's a little tricky though because the Kings are so bad. But that's how I would play it. His assist prop is really interesting now because the last game they did this was 2 Pacers meetings ago, and I think it went under 200. He only had 4 assists at Derek White, but he had a bunch of 3. So it's just a tricky sort of handicap. But I would think under Sacramento team total under is probably the right way to play it.
Sacramento team total to the under tonight, which I'll get that real fast. We'll throw that up there. 102.5 for the Kings tonight. 102.
I know it's not really it's not really that high of a number, is it?
No, 102.5 is tough. But look, we've actually been seeing a lot of we've seen a lot of games recently, Doug, with teams not hitting the 100 mark. Like there has been a little bit of that.
Yeah, you
going
brought it
around.
up, huh? Recently.
There has been. Oh, we had the Rocket Hawk game, of course, last night too. That was a dead under with those teams. But yeah, you have seen a little bit of it recently here going around. Memphis is in New Orleans against the Pelicans. Pelicans favored tonight. Pelicans minus 2.5, 231.5 is the total. I'm going to look, maybe not. Is Grizzlies missing some bodies tonight, Doug? What's up with
really disappointing before they got smoked by Charlotte the other night, right? That's the key. Now, Ja Morant's out, Santi Aldama's out. I think I'm going to have to go back to the Ward with Cam Spencer. I just think that was such a bad game. They got boat raced. I think this is a different opponent in New Orleans in terms of easier to score on. I think Cam Spencer's the way to go. Over 8.5 plus money, 7.5 pretty juicy. He had double-digit assists in the previous 2 games. I think we got to go back to the well here.
Back to the well with Cam Spencer tonight against the Pelicans down in Nolens. Suns off the win. Yes.
I was going to say, can I interest you in a money line parlay with the 3 biggest favorites on the night? So you got the Lakers we talked about being a smash job, the Celtics we discussed, and the Knickerbockers against the Blazers.
Let me
minus 107-ish.
Minus 107. Lakers, Knicks, and Celtics. Yeah, I got right there. Minus 109. Celtics, Coward go off tonight, Frankie the Fixer's asking. Coward go off for this? Oh, Cedric.
I think so. He's a smooth player.
I like that minus.
Go off is all relative, right?
Minus 109 for those 3. Honestly, who's the liability there, Doug? Between those
Knicks, because the Blazers are good. They've lost 3 straight, so you're going to get a good performance. They've just been on the road. They were in DC on Tuesday. I mean, are they playing in New York? Playing flu time? I don't know. They got depth that could, they're a frisky team. They're good. Their ceiling is pretty good. I just don't know when they're going to get their ceiling. But they haven't really. I mean, they beat the Hawks at home, but on the road, I guess they won at San Antonio. That's their best sort of performance this year.
Okay.
But other than that, they've been pretty weak on the road.
There you go for tonight. Cavs in this at Phoenix for the Suns. So Suns back to back here. Cavs hit the road and they're favorites on the road here, -3 for Cleveland.
Give me Suns all day. This is a team you want to bet on against a team you want to bet against. The Cavs have been a liability this entire year. They're off a big win where they beat LeBron, the Lakers. Oh, this is Donovan Mitchell's city now, blah, blah, blah. And Phoenix team wants blood. They just beat Detroit last night, really clamped down in the second half. Their picks, the ball moves so well. They're all trying to get Dylan Brooks all-star consideration. I know Barkley was saying that. This is just a team you want to bet on these days, and that's Phoenix.
The Clippers are in Denver against the Nuggets tonight. Clippers road favorites -2.5, 219.5. And the Clippers, as we know, Doug, they have come alive the last couple weeks.
Well, yeah, and the big news, Jokic expected to return tonight.
Ooh.
And we don't know if it's going to be a minutes restriction and whatnot, but it is interesting. I would say Clippers first quarter kind of thing. I think that's usually what you want to do when there's a team out of sync here, like Denver is with Jokic. Excuse me.
How about that? Coming back tonight, the big guy getting involved. And finally, listen, this is the game of the night. I don't care what you say. The last game I've got for you, and that is the Nets in Utah against the Jazz. The Nets played well for a little while last night in Denver, lost by 4. Porter went off, and you got your Jazz, who, of course, 15 wins already this season, 15-33. Laying 3.5 at home, 226.5 the total.
This has to be a smash job for the Nets, right? But the problem is, the Jazz, but Markkanen's not going to play.
Oh.
No Jokic.
Jeez.
So, just think about it. Like, don't you bet against Michael Porter tonight and his props?
He's out. Porter out.
So Porter Jr. Okay, yeah. The thing is just they were all in on that game last night. And so you have back-to-back in altitude. The Jazz should run them off the court.
What is personal they've got him listed as for being out?
Keontae, yeah. Emotional hangover. I think Keontae George is going to have a monster game.
Man,
25.5 is his prop.
I could see it. Look, that's I think
it's a big number, though. It's a big
job.
number, and the ball pops. I just think the Jazz. The problem is, I hate betting on the Jazz when they don't have Markkanen. I think they're winless, or maybe they have one win. I think they beat the T-Wolves. I think they're 1-11 or something like that.
Frankie the Fixer.
I would say team total, like first half kind of thing.
Okay.
The Nets are like so bad.
You're not going to get a big effort from them 2 nights in a row. There's just no Porter, who scored 38 for them last night. Like this has to be the Jazz. Like it has to.
No Markkanen and no Nurkic. Who's starting for them?
Frankie the Fixer. Huge night for George. We back George tonight. Keontae George just goes off.
But 25 is going off, and that's an under.
What about this Sensabaugh? He could go off too. Sensabaugh's been playing pretty well.
He does go off. But is Filipowski going to start at center?
It's got to be the Jazz, Doug.
Because Kevin Love's also out.
It's got to be the Jazz. Come on.
I'll tell you what the hammer spot is. Because like Ace Bailey, Cody Williams, you mentioned Sensabaugh. These got Walter Clayton Jr. First half team total over 58.5
for the Jazz.
That's your banger.
Only 58.5, huh?
Yeah. That's going to be my best bet, too.
Because you've had some nights with the Jazz team total first half that's been in the 60s for a lot of nights. So you have that. And, I know the Nets, there's just, misconcept the Nets play defense. Yeah, sometimes. And then there's nights where the Nets lose by 60. So,
I was really going to want to do my money line parlay of -109, but I think this is a better bet.
Okay. Jazz team total first half. Tee it high and let it fly. Good night. 9 games in the NBA. Lakers with Reeves back might be a bit iffy.
Ooh, I did not see that. Reeves back.
I saw Luka was on the injury report, but
He's questionable. Reeves is questionable. Left calf strain. He's been out for a while.
yeah, I know Reeves had been out, but then I saw Luka's on there all the time too.
Yeah, Luka is questionable.
Okay, might be a bit iffy. I
By
wouldn't
the way,
if he does play. I wouldn't get involved.
just want to throw this out there.
Okay,
With Jokic returning, um, he's still technically eligible to win MVP.
okay. Now, what do they got? That I had seen him off the board a week or two ago when I had peeked at that.
How
Is
dare
he?
they?
I can't. I have my New York app open, Doug, so I can't for Bet Rivers, so I can't get a good look at that right now. But you might have.
All of MVP is off the board right now.
Is that because the news of him coming back and you do the math and you realize that now they have to put him back on the board because he's going to be eligible if he doesn't miss another game? I don't know exactly how many games he missed.
Well, right. He should become the second favorite. I'd say this. It is illegal, at least in Nevada gaming, but I'm sure that to offer a bet that can't win. So if Jokic wins, all those bets you made in the previous month that lost, like Jokic or Luka or whatever, you can actually should be able to get a refund on those because Jokic wasn't offered when you made those bets. So everyone should get a refund because it's an index bet. Basically, what that is saying is, will anyone in this group win?
Only the ones that were made while Joker was off the board.
Correct.
Like if you made a Luka
and Joker wins,
right. Like, but if you made a Luka bet on October 30th when he was still in the lineup, when Joker was still in,
correct,
those wouldn't. Correct. But ones made while he wasn't on the board, you're saying would be like that.
Correct. Because this is the thought. Like I have a draft bet I made a few years ago that won. That was a little bit of a fine print thing. If they did not pay me, they would have been breaking like a multi-million-dollar gaming rule because the bet won. So you can't say you can't pay it. So it's like a little bit. It's a distant cousin of that. So it's basically like, for example, if I gave you all the California teams in the NBA, will any of these win the championship? And you can bet, and they don't have a no one from California wins.
Right.
You can bet the Kings, you can bet the Clippers, you can bet the Lakers, you can bet the Warriors, and if none of them win and they didn't have then everybody gets their money back.
Right.
Right. Wow, so that's essentially what the MVP is like who's going to win the MVP of this group? Well, if no one of the group wins and you don't have someone not from this group's going to win or field bet or whatever,
right?
Then
wow, how about that?
I wonder if Bet Rivers had a field bet for like 10,000 to 1 that Jokic would have been a part of.
Interesting, but now there's two things I'll say to you, and where I know we're getting off the path a little bit. You know, they played pretty well without him in the lineup.
So that's a good point. And I heard this on a different show podcast. They're like, oh, so you mean he's not playing with a bunch of fifth graders? I mean, because that's what everyone wanted to make it out to be.
It's true.
And it's a good call. It's a good call because now the years where we made the fifth grader parallel was like when he had all those guys out for the year, when he had Gordon out for the year and Murray, it was like that little small Italian guy, whatever, is playing point guard, Fakute or something, those like clowns that he was playing with. This team's pretty stacked, right? And those reserves are getting a lot better, like Peyton Wallace and whatnot. Hardaway Jr.'s been playing great. So if Cam Johnson can come back, this team's going to be pretty loaded come playoff time.
There you go. NBA for tonight, getting involved with us here on Betting Weekly Live. All right. Of course, if you like what you see, as you should, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. You can check us out and, of course, all of our other shows, including, in case you missed it, it was released yesterday, Betting Weekly WTA. Tim Dennis joined Nigel Seeley to preview the Australian Open women's final, which is, of course, Sabalenka and Rybakina. That is going off. Of course, that is tomorrow for the women's final. So make sure you check out Betting Weekly WTA with Tim and Nigel. They will get you all set up for that. And enter the bonus code BWAO, letter O, 26 in your Bet Rivers app to get a $10 bonus bet to use on an Australian Open wager. That code again, BWAO 26. Offer expires on January 31st. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, when you log into Bet Rivers, you can receive a daily Australian Open profit boost to use on that day's matches. Helped me this morning. Used it on Djokovic. Boom. We get a winner over Sinner. All right. I got to tell you, Doug, I'm very proud of you. You know, usually NHL, we've got a bunch of games every night. We've got tons of stuff. And tonight there's only one NHL game, but yet I see just full NHL information that we have written out for the weekend. So we're going to try to roll through it as fast as we can. Only one game tonight. Columbus is in Chicago. Well, that's the downside, Doug. If there was 15 games last night, so of course you only get one game tonight. The Blackhawks played last night. They got smoked in Pittsburgh by the Penguins. The Blue Jackets go and beat them in Chicago. The Blue Jackets have won 6 out of 7 since they made Rick Bowness the head coach. They changed head coaches, and the Blue Jackets have won 6 out of 7, so they're on the new coach up right now, upswing. They're minus 152. I would never lay minus 152 with the Blue Jackets, Doug, but I would play them at plus 108 in regulation tonight against the Blackhawks. I got no problem doing that. So I'm going to take the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight in regulation, plus 108.
No way I'm getting in front of that one. I want no part of the Blackhawks right now.
No part of them. All right. Over the weekend, there's some big games. Now, Saturday, there's actually an ABC doubleheader. Football must be over. ABC doubleheader in hockey on Saturday. Colorado and Detroit. Colorado, again, smashed by Montreal last night. Could there be some bounce back from Colorado and Detroit? We shall see. The Rangers, who can't get out of their own way, are in Pittsburgh, who's been playing very well. So that's the doubleheader on ABC. But let's talk about two other things. First, the Kings are playing 12:30 East in Philly against the Flyers. So obviously that would be 9:30 local. The King fans got to get up early in Los Angeles on Saturday morning. Now, I did go and look at this, Doug, when you wrote this down. I found 5 games so far this season of a West Coast team playing a weekend 12:30 East start on the East Coast. And it's honestly a mixed bag. In fact, I think it was 3-2 to the Western Conference team winning in that aspect.
So the Kings, they've been on a long road trip. So last Saturday, they were in the Midwest. So their body clocks should be adjusted.
I was going to say that to you. I don't think it's a factor because this is the middle to end of the trip. If this was the first or second game on the trip, I think that then we consider it a little bit more. I think we play the Kings here just because they've been playing. So
we've seen it with the Big Ten, right? When USC goes back east and they give them the early games, or the East Coast, like Rutgers, gets the late night kick at the Coliseum or something. It's really strange. But here they've been traveling and they've been on the East Coast in Detroit and Buffalo. I still think it's a little shaky that early in the morning.
I do like the Kings. I just think they're playing better than the Flyers right now. That would be my one caveat to it. And listen, the unfortunate thing for the Kings is they ran into the Buffalo Buzzsaw last night. There's just nothing getting away. There's nothing that's stopping Buffalo, as they've now won 20 of their last 24, rolling at this pace. Seattle and the Knights in Vegas Saturday night. So last night, Vegas, they come all the way back to tie that game with Dallas and then lose in a shootout. So Vegas has been a little spotty here recently, and they are a heavy favorite against this Kraken team that actually they've kind of turned their season around. They've won 3 in a row, and if the season ended today, Doug, they would be in the playoffs. They're in 3rd place in the Pacific right now. So Seattle's actually gotten it going here.
I need to work the phone to see if my sources at the nightclubs and gentlemen's clubs and restaurants have seen any Kraken players out. Because sometimes what's happened in the past is that a lot of times they save their rookie hazing for this road trip, things like that. Like they build some camaraderie building events into the schedule and the road trips and everything. And they punt on a game especially. So I need to know if they've been here, because Seattle hasn't played since like Tuesday.
No, they played last night. They beat the Maple Leafs at home. Seattle was at home last night.
All right, so I was thinking about it different. The Raptors in Toronto, in New York. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, damn it.
So really, they're just going to pull in today, have a little nice, maybe go over to maybe go have a little dinner at Carbone, and then go and. So that's
They don't
Not
want to
too
be
bad.
throwing up like CD Lamb was the night before the Monday night game at Red Rock Casino.
Head over to Red Rock. You go out there. Make the full spin. Kraken and Knights, late night. I will tell you also, if you want to factor this into your handicapping, I will be at the Islander Predator game on Saturday night at the horse track. So I will be at the game as the Islanders are minus 134 and the total's a 5.5. So factor that in, Doug. I'm obviously
You
going to
have
be playing.
a streak or anything like that of
Uh,
watching?
I actually think this is off the top of my head the first game I'm even going to this year. So we don't have any really current data. I can't go back to last year, and it's such a different team. They're actually playing well, so I can't even go back to previous teams. But I will be playing the Islanders tomorrow night, and I'll be playing the San Jose Sharks in Calgary against the Flames. Those were the couple that caught my eye for this weekend. Isles over Preds, you know it, John, on Saturday night. And make sure, Doug, I know you're going to have a lot of things going on, whether you're at the book, wherever you are, and you're going to probably that Nick Laker game on Sunday night, 7 o'clock East, the first NBC Sunday night game. They are playing the big outdoor game in Tampa between the Lightning and the Bruins at Raymond James at the Pirate Ship. And man, Gary Bettman, I don't know who he prayed to, but he's getting like the coldest day in Florida in the last 50 years on Sunday night. It's going to be like 35 degrees in Tampa for the Bruins and the Lightning. So could be a fun scene. The last 3 of these stadium series, not Winter Classic, New Year's Day, stadium series have all been banger overs. 5-3, 6-4. That just, that's random. You never know, but we've had some bangers in the stadium series, not so much the Winter Classic.
Cannons going off?
Will they fire? They might. They might shoot the pirate ship off when the Lightning score a goal. They got to add that in. That's part of the elements, right, of playing outdoors at the football stadium.
That would be something.
Lightning and the Bruins have been playing well too, going into that game on Sunday night. So make sure you keep that in mind. 6:30 p.m. East, outdoor hockey up against the Knicks and the Lakers on NBC. They know how to pick them. All right, it's time, Doug. Best bets, the Daily Double, Friday night for Betting Weekly Live. I am going to go with Kent State. I really feel good about this. This is way too many points against Akron. Second and third best teams in the MAC so far this year. They're both chasing Miami of Ohio. I watched Kent State in that game against the Redhawks, and they really showed me something. 11.5 I'm catching now here. On the road, I understand, but I think this is going to be a tight game, so I'm going with the Flashes tonight.
What's your record used betting the MAC?
For best bets or over best bets, it's 1-1 because I had the Kent State against Miami of Ohio, and it wasn't a best bet, but I did cover the UMass against Miami of Ohio the other night. So it's been here or there, Doug, for the MAC.
Okay. I'm going to go back to that fade Brooklyn situation. Utah Jazz first half team total. No marketing, but this team will want to run. We got George. We got Sensabaugh. We got Filipowski. We got Isaiah Collier. We got plenty of, and they're going small ball. And the Nets are going to want to run small ball as well. I think 57.5 is way too low.
So there you go. For tonight, Nets first half team total over 57.5. Kent State plus the 11.5. Plus 261. The Daily Double going for 2 in a row after the win last night. Let's get it. And I will say that's a 6 o'clock East tip. Mac's probably going to be mad at me here. Kent State 6 o'clock East tip for the first leg of the Daily Double. So make sure you get that rolling there. It's an early start out at the Mac. All right, Doug, tremendous job. As always, have a great weekend. And hey, when we come back on Monday, I know you're excited. It's Super Bowl week. Let's roll.
Yeah, we got some crazy props we're lining up. I mean, I got my punts loaded. I got my higher payouts. A couple years ago, I had McCaffrey to lead the game in receiving yards at like 25-1. And you remember he scored on that screen from midfield. He needed like 8 more yards and he would have won that thing. So I'll have some good long shots.
I love looking for all the nonsense, Doug. I'm into it. I'll have plenty of crazy stuff that I'm gonna throw at for the Super Bowl next week. Patriots and Seahawks. We'll be talking about it all week on Betting Weekly Live. Of course, Betting Weekly Studio is part of the Bet Rivers Network. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian. Enjoy the weekend. We are back Monday, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. Betting Weekly Live. We'll see you then.